Hey everyone, welcome to another beer review with Frederik den Såkaldte and
Peter, the master of puppets.
I brought some more old goodies for me and Peter to try this evening. And this has been one of my favorite beers I've ever tried. This is Lost Abbey's Cuvee de Tomme, named after Tommy Arthur, who is the legendary head brewer and brewmaster, yes, founder of Port Brewing and Lost Abbey in, is it San Diego?
I think it's an interesting story because it's something like brewmaster originally at Pizza Ports.
Yeah, that's right.
Leaving to found Port Brewing and the Lost Abbey.
Yeah, and he actually made this beer at Pizza Port.
Originally,
yeah. I think that was 2004. Along with some legendary beers like the SPF, Saisons, and stuff like that. I mean, I was drooling about those beers on Rate Beer back in the day.
Is he the one who's behind Swami's? That's a pretty legendary IPA as well.
I don't know. But yeah, legendary guy. And one thing that's really cool about Tommy Arthur is that I think we're both part of this OMT, Old Money Tickers group on Facebook.
Yeah, he's in it.
And every time someone calls, Lost Abbey out and was like, yeah, awesome to be drinking some old Lost Abbey stuff, he always comments with anecdotes about making that beer or something like that. I mean, he seems super down to earth, and is just, a real American legend, brewing legend. And
I've been to the brewery.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, there's so many good beers coming from this brewery, and this has been my favorite. I remember giving this a 4.7 on Rate Beer back in the day.
Whoosh.
It was one of the highest rated beers for me ever, and I had the chance to try it again a few years ago with a buddy of mine, and I was just mind blown again. And that was maybe 8 years later after trying it for the first time. And it's very few beers that hold up when you can drink it with 8 years later and it's still that good. Yeah. This beer was that. However, this bottle is a 2012 bottle, so it's old. It's got 12 years on it. When I had it last time, which is maybe 6 years ago, that was a bottle that was maybe only 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
So age is probably going to do something to this beer, like we just saw with Bourbon County. I'm really excited to try this beer again. I don't know if they make it anymore. I would love to try it fresh again.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, we do not often see Lost Abbey anymore here.
No.
There's been sporadic small amounts of cans of Port Brewing.
Yeah.
But I was Lost Abbey was one of the breweries for me that was also amazing to try back in the day. And going to the brewery back in 2012 and drinking beer on site. I remember one of my beers I really wanted to try was Cable Car Creek.
Yeah.
And Duck Duck Goose.
Yes.
And Duck Duck Goose I actually got from Joe, who we sent some beer.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Which was awesome. And Cable Car I had the chance to buy in Tornado in San Francisco, but they would not let me purchase the bottle.
Oh.
They were
fucking shit.
But it's there as it said, yeah, but you can't buy that. It's okay, well then I'll have something else. It's just don't you know who I am? No, I wasn't like that. I just remember being really disappointed because I was really hoping to try that beer back then.
Yeah, that was a legendary, really limited, rare beer.
And then they had all the Belgian stuff with Lost Abbey. I also loved Judgment Day a lot, and I think I liked, which is this beer is part of this beer. But there was many other portfolio. But I think before Lost Abbey, in the early days, what I really loved was Port Brewing. I loved their hoppy stuff. Hop 15, Wipeout, Shark Attack, Imperial Red.
Great stuff.
There was so many great hoppy beers from them back in the day. But that was actually my first introduction to anything with ports. I did not know of Pizza Port because my introduction was Port Brewing and Lost Abbey. And then was not until I did some research I found out about Pizza Port also being a thing. Which is also great. When you go to California, you need to go to Carlsbad and you need to go to Pizza Port and fucking eat pizza and drink great beer. It's legendary on the beach. Man, I love it.
Yeah, but Cuvee de Tomme is, as you briefly mentioned, it's based on a beer called Judgment Day, which is a Belgian quad quadruple brewed with raisins And then they take this base beer and they aged it in both bourbon and Pinot Noir, red wine barrels, and then add different lactic acid bacteria, wild yeast,
bugs,
and sour cherries. I'm dying to try this.
Yeah, okay, let's stop talking and dive in and see how this is with age. I think initially in my original review of this, Jacob and I, the most, were criticizing the fact that they didn't have any CO2 because that was just noob mindset and not thinking about what the brewer may be intended to do with the beer and whatever. Or if it was because they couldn't carbonate it, I don't know. I just remember we were like, oh, this is flat.
Yeah.
And then we just kept beating that horse.
That used to be the big joke about Lost Abbey beers.
Oh yeah, they were flat.
I remember memes being made with Tommy Arthur. Yeah.
Well, your glass is slightly more clear than mine. I think I cut it at a good point because there is a lot of gunk in this bottle. Are you crazy? There's a good amount of sediment. That's something you need to be really careful with old beers because that can also be an attribute to different flavors that you do not necessarily want.
Exactly. Don't pour it all.
Nope.
Especially all you jyder out there.
Yeah. Take it easy, man. This is an experience, not something for an effect.
This is a very dark beer.
Yeah.
I remember even dark for a quad.
Yeah, I remember it having ruby red tones, but this is really muddy brown now.
Yeah.
You can really see oxidation has done something to this.
Yeah,
especially
I guess
also with a cork.
The age can do something to that color.
100%.
That red tint.
I mean, part of the color in fortified wines and old wines are age. The reason, if you look at a port wine, ruby port, red. If you look at a tawny, it's brownish.
Yeah, exactly.
So
let's smell this
sucker.
sucker.
Let's smell it.
I've been getting small whiffs, and I'm actually feeling good about that.
This smells good. There's a little bit in my glass of soy sauce or something.
Yeah, I just have a touch of that, but I still feel the remnants of that, really complex, many-faceted beer.
Yeah. There's definitely sour cherries. And there's also something with these beers with age. The honey. It was the same in Bourbon County.
Yeah, that's true.
But definitely the cherries. And also...
also getting a touch of that funkiness, maybe
I'm also
acidity
getting a touch of
on the
alcohol.
nose. Yeah.
Almost a little bit of acetone. Just lightly.
But yeah, I mean, if an old Amarone, something like that, really densely fruity, dried fruits,
a leather as well, and there's tobacco as notes. There's definitely also lots of balsamic vinegar to it.
But man, I think this smells great.
It still smells pretty nice, but
it's older than the Bourbon County barley wine we had, and this does not have the same impact from age.
No, and I think there's something to bugs and age.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to also touch a caramel or something to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to try one of your OG whales? So cheers. Thanks for sharing.
Super fucking sour.
Yeah. Oof. There is definitely some soy sauce to it as well. I think this is also a case of maybe it went a bit too far, but I think it's better than I expected maybe. But there's a little bit of soy sauce meets balsamic vinegar meets wine barrels and.
I mean, this for me, at least I've only had one sip, but that first sip for me was almost unpalatably sour.
Yeah.
But the aroma, I think, really brings me back to my previous experiences with this beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, this has so much more age than other times I've tried it, and that sort of lowers the experience a bit. But it still has that really deep thing going on with vanilla and toastiness from bourbon and some delicate
The vanilla character is almost more
fruity
almondy
character from that Pinot Noir.
to me. Like I'm getting like it's funny. Like I often also get almond character from bourbon barrel aging, but there's something that seems vanilla that's almost more almondy to me. Almost like, dare I say, slightly stale. But like, I think this is a case again of like time maybe not being in the favor of the beer, but also not completely ruining the beer. Like, I think I definitely also had this beer in experiences where I've liked it more. Like, I just remember the original experience, like, oh, this is flat. Whereas I remember having past experiences where I also really loved it. Like, I also read Poppy and what was the other one? Framboise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I also remember this beer as being very, very sour. But I remember when it was fresher, there was more of that base beer and more of that fresh barrel character to kind of counteract that intense acidity.
And probably also more vibrancy.
Just as we talked about earlier this evening, when fruit comes in a beer, age does has have the effect that it turns even more sour with age. Often. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's like a golden rule or something, but it's something that I've observed many times. And I'd say that's the case with this beer too. Yeah. That age has just made it really, really sour.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Age has definitely not been the best for this, but 12 years in the bottle is also a long fucking time. Yeah. I mean, this was produced around the time I visited the brewery. That was in 2012. So, yeah. I visited Port Brewing and Lost Abbey in 2012 when I was studying in the States.
Imagine like a high school sweetheart.
Yeah, this is your
that you haven't seen in 10 years. And you have this image that was just like, there it was.
Now you saw
and
her.
And then 10 years later, you see her and you're like, maybe it was back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a beer that brings back a lot of memories. Like it's been some of the biggest beer experiences I've ever had was this beer. All the times I tried it. And there I can see like all the things I remember about the beer, like the how the aroma was layered with bourbon and vanilla and the sour cherries and the dark base beer. And the same goes for the taste. All these layers, like really unexpected things, especially considering I tried it first time in maybe 2011, something like that, when not much of this kind of beer was around. I can still see all those things. It's just like, this is over the hill. I'd fucking die to drink a fresh bottle of this.
Yeah. I think it's definitely over the hill. And it's so much, I'd say it's so much over the hill that I think it's unfair to give this a numerical grade, to be 100% honest. Because I can already say I don't think I'll be able to finish the entire glass because the sourness is overwhelming.
I'm actually getting used to it though.
Okay, because I can feel like this is something that might even give me heartburn, like or not heartburn, but you can feel like the gastric acidity, like
you can feel it go down all the way,
into the pit of your stomach.
Yeah. So guys, if you ever see this beer hanging around, be sure to check the vintage before you buy it. This is still a fun experience, a 12-year-old bottle, but especially if you can get one that's, I'd say maybe less than 5 years old, you're gonna have a great fucking time. Cuvee de Tomme from Lost Abbey. As always, remember to check out the Facebook fan page, Twitter, Instagram. Comment, like, and subscribe. Ring the bell for future notifications. And we're gonna say, do they still make Cuvee de Tomme?
I mean, there is check-ins on Untappd for 21 Cuvee de Tomme with carbonation. This was an odd imperial sour. Okay, Benji T.
Maybe only on draft?
Maybe a draft only release? I don't know. It seems like there is fresh vintage.
If you know anything, let us know.
Go to California, go to San Diego, and visit this brewery.
Let us know if you find. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers in vintage beer once again.
See you another vintage beer review.
Cheers.